of a single
conversation.
it could change your whole life.
INCRadio Chatline. Conversations that matter.
Nate, so I know you have the one now, but prior to your the one, there were others who were not the one. How did you know they weren't the one?
Oh, you'll know. You'll know for
Like
sure.
how?
Things won't be going very well, one way or another.
Okay.
I think, though, maybe I'm not quite the expert because I think I got dumped more often than not. So,
Oh, really? You weren't the one doing the dumping?
no, not really. No.
Okay. So, I know sometimes you guys will see the sign of who the one is, right? But, for the ones who weren't the one, were there any signs at all? Because I know sometimes people will play blind to the signs because they don't want to see it. But, thinking back to it now, um, did you think there were signs or maybe not too obvious, but at least have some kind of sign?
Were you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were asking our audience in the intro. I was like, maybe she's not going to pick on me. But what I'll say is, what I'm trying to look for, at least at the time, was, I mean, I was looking for marriage. I took relationships seriously. I really didn't get involved in relationships till like after high school, really. And what I'm looking for is kind of that template that you see in marriage. Like, there's communication, there's compromise, there's, at least you get along and you want to do things together. But especially if those three things aren't present in a relationship, okay, if there's no compromise, if there's no communication, or you don't even have some similar interests, then yeah, that might be signs that there's not really going to be much of a future for that relationship.
Yeah. And for me, sometimes when they do the whole, oh, it's great to be friends kind of a thing, I think that's like kind of a subtle hint where they're leaning more towards friendship instead of something else. Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, usually that doesn't result in a actual friendship though. It's just trying to do a soft landing for a breakup, a separation.
I think for me, one of the things that was a sign is because a lot of times there's just some people who, when they have a relationship, it has to be someone nearby, like they can't do the whole long distance thing, right? And so once one person leaves, and then the communication gets less, that's kind of a sign that okay, you used to talk every day and not you're not talking anymore. Is that something that you can relate to?
Yeah, I've been in long distance relationships, and it definitely it doesn't help. The distance does not help at all. I mean, you can communicate all you want, but like you can't get around the the FaceTime, the actual face to face time. Not using an app FaceTime, but like actually being in person. There's not a
Yeah.
substitute for that. You can't electronically transmit your relationship, through the phone lines permanently though. Okay. I will say I know lots of people who've made it work and they are married. So, and they are together. They're not still in a long distance relationship after
Yeah.
being married. But you can make it work, but I would say your patience level for, both people in that relationship and the communication, especially as far as like what they need emotionally out of that relationship, that needs to really be rock solid. I mean, if
Hmm.
if you can't be a trusting person, that long distance relationship is going to fall apart pretty quickly.
And that's the thing, because sometimes like with long distance, I mean, where they're like constantly, when you're not answering your phone, oh, why didn't you answer? Or why didn't you respond right away? So I think that is one of the signs also, because then they are insecure.
Right. So, what about you? What's been your experience? How do you know when someone's not the one?
um I
when
know
they
this
don't
is
have
going to
blonde hair,
sound
blue eyes.
well, besides that part, but no, I think mine is it's going to sound really bad, but when they get too clingy, because like I said, I love spending time with people and I don't mind hanging out every day, spending time with them every day. But then sometimes when they cling too much, like let's say you go to a party, like yeah, it's good to like walk around with each other, but then eventually, you want to be able to talk to your friends and hopefully they'll be able to talk to other people. But when they try to cling to you the whole time, then I think that is kind of how I kind of know they're not the one, because I still kind of need my freedom where, yes, I'll spend time with you, but I also have to have that time where either I could be alone and do things by myself, or be able to go out with my friends and spend time with my friends without that other person.
Yeah, I think though the term clingy probably gets too much of a bad rap. Um, I think when you tie that into like love languages, it really depends on the person and the couple. So if someone is clingy, they need somebody who's kind of also uh who I guess is also clingy. Like that would
Yeah,
probably work okay, because then they would literally spend every moment together and it wouldn't be an issue. And for some people that doesn't work. So like, I mean, for me and my wife, we're kind of half and half. It's like when we're together we can be real clingy, but we're fine, like, independently taking care of things. So and I think, like, especially nowadays that we have like a kid, it's like it's impossible for us to realistically always be together. So it's like, all
yeah.
right, you got to take care of business here, I got to take care of business there, and we're okay. But we still also have to balance that with like the time we spend together in person.
Yeah. Well, Melanie did put something in the chat, which I think is hilarious because I think I totally agree with her on this. She says, when they make excuses not to meet your family after you've been seeing each other for a while, that's a red flag. And for me, I totally agree with that. Like, I'm not the type to take anyone home, like right away. I will wait until like a very long period. And I actually haven't taken anyone home ever. And so, but just the thought of having that discussion, right, like when it's time to ready to meet the parents or the family, do you agree that that's a red flag when they keep making excuses?
I mean, you can interpret it as, maybe they're not going to be as serious in the relationship, that they don't
Mm-hmm.
want to start forming relationships with your actual family and bonds
Mm-hmm.
with them. Maybe, they're not ready to see that future quite right away. It's also not a good thing to kind of push that on somebody prematurely, so I mean, it depends on the couple too. Like, some people can move quickly and that's fine. Like, I don't think there's any uh set rules as far as like how long you should be in the relationship before you actually, have certain levels of commitment, like meeting other family members. But you at least need to have a lot of your basics down and be responsible adults.
Yeah. And I think that's why I never ever brought anyone home, is because I didn't know if it was serious enough for them to take them home, because I've seen it a lot where somebody brings someone home and then things don't work out. And then now, if you actually like the person that they brought home compared to who they're with now, it just kind of makes it for an awkward situation. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, you do have to take that risk, but, at some point, especially, if you want that relationship to go further, then you do have to start stepping out of your comfort zone and, meeting the parents, so that especially so that the parents know that you have some good intentions with their child,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well, and I think it just depends too if you're the guy or the girl. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's
Yes.
different.
The rules are definitely different whether you're the guy or a girl,
Yeah.
yes.
Now, with the relationships that didn't work, and like we said, sometimes there's signs, right, of whether or not they're the one. But was there ever a time where the signs? I mean, like, did the signs come early? Did they come late? Was it noticeable? Because for me, with my relationships, I think my signs always come late. Like, it's after the fact. It's not until after everything's ended that I realize, oh, I should have seen these signs, right? Um, how was it for you?
Um, yeah, sometimes the signs do come early because, like, for me, anytime I was gonna ever enter into like a dating situation, any kind of relationship, there had to be some sort of future for that. If there was no future with this person at all, I wouldn't even begin. Right? There's no point.
Yeah.
Right? It's so right off the bat, if I don't see that a person can be in a serious relationship, yeah, then that's an immediate red flag. Not even to start. Right? And then other things they may arise like later on once someone gets more comfortable with you and they're communicating things more openly with you. You might find you have some disagreements, like you know this future is not going to work at all with this person,
Hmm.
and that works both ways. So either you decide like this, one person can decide this isn't going to work anymore and they're going to have to find a way to end it, or you're going to have the relationship ended on you and it might come out of nowhere.
Yeah. And
But
Melanie put something in here again that I thought was pretty cool. Is he was when they don't push you to be better and you find yourself making bad decisions when you're around them, then they're not the one. That is something like I totally agree with, right? Because you want to be with someone who's going to make you be a better person, and then vice versa, you also make them a better person, right?
oh yeah, so there's definitely give and take in relationships. I feel like in some relationships they did not want to give up anything, and so you know that might not work out long term. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, if you're entering in a relationship with somebody but you don't want to encourage them to be better, you don't want them to improve themselves, if you would literally rather have them be worse off just for your benefit in some way, whether that's some kind of emotional security or whatever, you might have to really rethink that. Like, is this really a relationship I need to be in?
Yeah. No, no, I totally agree because, like you said, because I know there's people who like to put people down to make themselves look better.
Yeah.
And I see that all the time. And I'm like, why would you stay with that person? They're like,
Yeah.
they're not lifting you up. They're like trying to bring you
I mean,
down.
in reality, that's not even a good person to associate with to begin with. You start getting into like sociopath territory where somebody just takes enjoyment out of bringing others down. So in that case, it's like, yeah, you're not even talking about relationship anymore. It's like you should probably avoid that person altogether.
See, but that's a thing though. But haven't you noticed it with other people? Like you see that in people, but yet they can't see it themselves. You know how they say love is blind, kind of a thing. And that's where I totally agree when I see stuff like that, where they're not good for the person, but I don't know if they just choose to ignore it or they're trying to justify, oh, maybe I could change them,
Well,
you know?
at the same time, my pushback to that would be, is there communication in that relationship? Because if that is happening to one or the other person in that relationship, are they even speaking out?
Yeah.
Because at the same time, you have to be giving the other person a chance. You're both invested in the relationship, to some degree or another. And if something isn't working out, or if someone's not allowing you to be the best person, and you feel that way, you need to voice that out. And if you feel like, okay, this person is, not really caring about myself, then
Uh-huh.
you start thinking like, all right, maybe this shouldn't proceed any further, because
Yeah.
in a relationship you do have to make things work when you get married, so
Yeah.
there still has to be an attempt to try to
Yeah.
fix things. Otherwise, like, what's the point in dating and being in love and all that, because you're gonna have to face that one way or another. So while we say all these things, you still have to be prepared to compromise and communicate.
That's so true. There is another comment on here. It says, if they interact with their phone more than they interact with you, they may not be the one. And I totally agree with that. Because even just friends alone, it doesn't even have to be a relationship. Like when I'm out to dinner with friends and everything, even my nephews, when we're out to dinner, I say, y'all need to put your phone away because, we're socializing, right? We're talking in person. We're not going to text each other. We're not going to communicate over the phone. But what are your thoughts on that? Because I totally agree with that statement.
I think that's broader than relationships. Like even with
Yeah.
friendships, if you're hanging out with someone and they're somewhere else, then yeah, they're they're probably not even worth being friends with.
So then you said, like, you said earlier that with a lot of the relationships, they were the one who dumped you, right? So when that happens, how long does it take before either you decide to move on or you could actually move on?
Well, when you're younger, it seems like it takes forever. You feel like your world is ending and you're never going to find another person. But looking back now, and what every like older person will say, it's like there's always going to be other fish. What is it? Other fish in the sea or whatever the saying is. So yeah, the world's not really over. I mean, it's just a lot more difficult the younger you are. But as you emotionally mature, you can kind of get over things, fairly quickly. And the way I started seeing it later on is like, especially if, you feel like you got dumped, right? Then you have to put yourself in the mindset like, I don't need to carry this emotional baggage into my next relationship. So I am not going to let myself be bothered by this for too long. I'm going to cry my tears out for like a day or two, and that's it. I'm moving on. I'm going to be a better person, especially for the next person that comes around.
But you know what's funny how you say that? I'm like totally opposite. I think when I was younger, yes, I think I got heartbroken more, but I moved on pretty quickly, you know? Like I was like, I think it was one of those, oh, I'm not gonna let them get me down, right? I'm just gonna go start going out with people again. But as I got older, I think it took me like much longer because I had one relationship that lasted for a pretty long time. And, to this point, I don't think I've moved on. And it's not that I'm hoping we get back together or anything like that, but I think I've come to the point where, oh, I don't want to go through that again, kind of a thing. So it's actually taken me longer as I got older, as opposed to when I was younger.
See. Well, I mean, it was a long relationship, so I would imagine it would take longer to get over. I mean, I I got married by the time I was like 25, so I
Oh,
wasn't
see,
really
yeah,
dating for too long.
yeah, no, by 25, I think I was still what was I doing? I was still traveling, going out and about, so was not in any serious relationship. Plus, like you said, you know how you said you didn't have a relationship till what, after high school, you said? After
Yeah,
college.
I pretty much wanted to be a kid as long as possible. I didn't
Yeah.
want to rush being an adult.
Well,
And
for us, like our parents didn't want us to have a relationship until after college. And so since I put college off for a few years, then it took that even that much longer before I got into any type of relationship. So I was like on the older side when I first decided to actually start dating and stuff. So, like I said, I think by then I kind of learned more, or I learned more from everyone else that made mistakes. And so I think that's why with that one, where I just, if it didn't work out, oh well, it didn't work out, except for like the ones that last a little bit longer than that one is harder to move through. But yeah.
yeah, and on the flip side, like having been dumped and having, not met the one. When
Hmm.
I did meet someone that I thought was the one, which is my wife now, Melanie, she's in the chat. Like, I didn't take it for granted. Like, I was like, for sure, this is the person I want to be with. And, I worked really, really hard at making sure that the relationship could progress beyond dating, that we would get married. I think we got married only like a year and a half after we started dating, because I wanted to be serious about it, and I didn't want to wait, or the chance that something might go wrong and then you can't fix it and then you end up breaking up. It's like, no, I want
Yeah.
to I want to get married. Even when I was younger, I was like, by the time I'm 25, done with college, I
See,
want to be married.
and not all guys think like that. That's why I'm like pretty surprised when you say you got married at 25, because a lot of times, that's usually it's the girl who thinks like that, not the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's different for everybody. If you want to hold that off, you can. I mean, the advice I would give if someone were asking, like, yeah, if you meet someone you really like, don't find ways to, put it off. Don't find reasons to not get married. Like, get married because when you're on the other side, it's much better. I would never ever want to be single like ever again. I don't want to deal with that anymore. I'm so happy where I'm at now. So
Well, good for you. Like I said, I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but like I said, those are things we aspire for, right? But
yeah.
whether it happens or not, I think someone had put it in there. Things are going to happen when they're going to happen when the time is right. And so maybe at that time it was right for you and Melanie. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, like you wanted to travel more, and that was your goal, and there's
Yes.
nothing wrong with that. So it just depends. Like, what are your goals in life, and what are you doing to try to achieve them? So,
Yeah.
yeah, if you want to get married early, then you do have to put in that work. You are going to have to communicate. You're going to have to compromise to make it work. So it just depends on the person.
Yeah. And that's just funny because you're content getting married early. I'm content not getting married yet. So which is total opposites. But I do want to thank you for joining us in our chat tonight. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. We had to cut it short because of our technical difficulties earlier, but hopefully you'll join us next week on Chatline when we talk about, I don't know, maybe another relationship issue. If you guys have any suggestions you'd like to give, go ahead and put it in the chat, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, right? Until next time, we'll see you all. Thank you for joining us on Chatline.
Don't underestimate
The power
of a single conversation.
it could change your whole life.
INCRadio Chatline.
conversations that matter.
Ready to discover your new favorite INC original music? Introducing Playlist. Tune in every Monday to Friday from 9 to 10 p.m. for a musical journey like no other. Genres like R&B, acoustic, alternative, love songs, rock, pop, hip-hop, and rap. Each day brings you a different genre of INC original music tailored to match your mood.